Welcome to the Sleeping Barber Podcast.
Okay.
So we're here at the gathering, Banff, Alberta.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in your backyard and just be present with this, eh?
It's a pretty nice backyard.
This is an incredible backyard.
So the gathering.
The gathering.
Okay, let's do a wrap. First, what did we do today? What do we get covered?
Well, first of all, let's thank the gathering.
Oh yeah, thanks to the gathering.
Thank you for inviting us out.
Ryan,
Mandy,
Chris,
Ryan, Chris,
the rest of
Riley for helping us out there as well, and everyone else that did. But it's been incredible. It's been incredible just kind of taking in the days. Of course, we live in Calgary, so we get to see this quite often, but
Yeah.
it never ceases to amaze us.
No.
And the same thing with the gathering. It was just another great festival of, I don't know what's the right way of...
Brand.
Oh, great. I think that's a great cult brands. I know that was more of the genesis of the idea of the cult gathering, but of course, a lot of great speakers. We got to talk about AI and creativity. I know we will be talking.
Yeah.
We'll have Vanessa on a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a really good conversation. The one that we just had that we just recorded too was interesting with Carolyn about the creator economy, but in a digital platform, which was kind of, I'm like,
What's happening?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that was really interesting. There's so many places. Let's talk about media fragmentation.
Of course.
There's so many places now that people are, and you kind of, I was in one of the sessions where they were talking about a whole bunch of platforms I'd never heard of before.
Yeah.
I've heard Reddit, but there's other ones that I've never heard of.
No, absolutely.
And there's so many places out there where there are people, and trying to really understand your customers, I think, is a really interesting thing. Just from a media perspective and understanding where they spend time, where they spend attention.
Absolutely. I just wanted to touch on one thing. You were talking about the digital ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I know we were discussing, I'm like, that's like an evolution of physical availability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like rethinking where you're actually placing a lot of this, the marketing, if you will, or the messages. And it's really interesting to see how this new generation, Gen Z, that's coming through, they will mature. They may continue to mature within platforms, out of platforms, but it's how you choose to engage them, where you choose to engage them becomes really important.
Totally. There's Range Rover was a sponsor here, and we had somebody from jail on earlier, but seeing the physical cars and seeing them in this environment, kind of it's interesting seeing all these brand touch points also brought to life.
Yeah, of course.
In a really experiential way and a meaningful way, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, well, it's almost like I think we talked to Ryan, and he talked about the soul, the soul of this festival, if you will. It's none like any others.
Yeah.
And I think the nuance here is, and we were talking about this with a few people in the conference, is you never felt that you were constantly being badge attacked.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It was, you kind of were left to kind of be you.
Pitch slapped, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think that was, that it almost takes that defensive state out completely. And you're actually just kind of able to experience it a lot differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Ryan had mentioned when we were talking to him, the idea around connection is a big thing, a big theme, and sort of the vulnerability component of it.
Yeah.
I think you feel that it's
Absolutely.
a conference that I have that sense of, I don't know, belonging, I think is where the gathering intends it to go.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing a good job from a brand management point of view, even for running a conference, to keep it as it is. And from the purity of what they started at.
Yeah, absolutely.
12 years later, I think they're still doing a good job with that. So,
are there any other talks that kind of stuck out to you that you were able to attend?
There's that one on effectiveness that we just came out of. We didn't get a chance to see the whole thing, but that was it was interesting seeing a lot of the same things that we've seen over and over again. And we just released that 8 fundamentals of effective advertising.
Yeah.
Or effective marketing. I think it's just nice seeing the specific data points now.
It was nice seeing it here.
Yeah, out of Canada. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's something that we often forget, where there's this connotation, and Ted Tedesco, who's the head of effectiveness at
Paul Tedesco.
Sorry, Paul Tedesco, INC.
Now I'm getting all my acronyms mixed up.
ICA. Sorry. Jeez, I'm butchering this. But it was just, again, we don't really hear it. We'd hear it because of the people we get to interview and talk about, but we don't hear it enough in our day-to-day. And seeing it present in a conference like this, I think is showing a subtle shift.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably see that continue to grow.
Yeah, the effectiveness component.
Sorry, yes, absolutely.
Totally.
The effectiveness.
There's that one slide that he showed where everybody held their cameras up, which was the campaigns become more effective the longer the relationship between their
agencies,
brand and agency, which was really interesting.
what was the stat? The top.
Oh yeah, the top 40 brands I think have relationships of 22 years.
The median was like 22
but
years.
The average for most brands was 3. like 3.5 or something. 3.5 years.
Blows me away. Because like I know you and I have both experienced our share of agency shakeups and that 3 to 4 years kind of like stands.
Yeah.
The outliers becomes like the 10 plus.
Totally.
But if you're looking at it from an effectiveness perspective, that completely changes the narrative.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting thinking about it from a relationship point of view. Like you don't always get great relationships. You go through rocky parts and all that kind of, I think the more you have those, not to say you want to stick through a rocky relationship, especially when you're paying for it, but understanding a brand is hard, and getting to a point past the initial hurdles of like, we don't really understand each other, which probably is around that 3.5 year mark, I would guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're doing things a little bit different. So as a part of this episode, you're going to hear from 3 speakers.
Yeah.
Shortly, you're going to have Ryan Gill, who's one of the co-founders of the Gathering. Yeah. And he talks a little bit about the vision, kind of like, current state, the vision of where they see the event itself kind of taking down, which is exciting to see.
Yep.
Then we'll hear from Vanessa, the head of marketing at Descript.
Yep.
And she talks about AI and creativity and the importance of how you're setting yourselves up for success for that. Yep. Then, of course, we'll end the episode with Carolyn Murphy, who is the CMO at Metaphor Interactive. Yep. Talks about exactly what you were saying earlier, just kind of those digital placements in those ecosystems that are maybe a little bit more foreign for you and I. Yeah, totally. Roblox, Fortnite being one of them, but just showcasing like the engagement is true and has value there.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good day.
It was absolutely a great day.
Day one, that was pretty epic.
So, yeah, it was fantastic.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Stay sharp, everyone.
Yeah, keep us in your ears.
Okay, we are back with a new guest. Very excited to have Ryan Gill, co-founder of The Gathering and Cult. Ryan, thanks for joining us here on Sleeping Barber Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Marc. This is fun. Good to have you here, and it's cool to hear about what you guys have going on. So excited to have the conversation.
Yeah, so let's start there. When I hear more about what you got going on, because The Gathering is a big event, a big festival. How do you describe it to people? Because it's a lot of different things. It feels like in one, but it's a lot about branding and a lot about inspiration.
Speaking of branding, right? Like when you create something unique, it sometimes takes time to stumble into greatness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we stumbled through the first many years of what are we?
Yeah.
Which I think is normal, natural.
Yeah.
But we definitely knew we didn't want to be what other people are. I love Can.
Yeah.
I love South by Southwest. They were influences.
Yeah.
But we knew we needed to be different and how. And so we doubled down on connection and vulnerability. And we're in such a beautiful place for those that are watching. We're in Banff, Alberta, Canada. And there's that sense of place here.
Totally.
And so as we built it out, and after 12 years now, I do feel we found our footing. Yeah. Which is focus on belonging. Scale it is fairly large, but we still want to keep it. How do you keep things growing?
Yeah. Keep the identity of it. Yeah.
And still feel like people belong. Yeah. And so I think that will be our challenge forever.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that challenge.
Yeah, that's really cool. And we were chatting a little bit yesterday, and you had some pretty impressive plans, let's call it that, about where this is going to go in the future. Yeah. Do you mind like just filling in some of the thoughts around that?
Yeah, it's exciting. So first of all, I want to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
We are the co-founders, Chris and I, but Mandy Ballock's the president. Yeah. She's done such an amazing job running it and growing the last few years. And so she is definitely executing on the vision, but our vision for it is to continue to grow intentionally, like I just said. But we want to grow into the Bow Valley. And so we're about 2,000 people this year. Next year, we'll grow to about 3,000. That really starts to put a strain on this venue and even in town, because there's not that many rooms here. And so we need to grow outside. Now, that being small, you can't really go elsewhere. Yeah. So part of the vision is to start to go to Canmore, Lake Louise. And with that, they're about 35 to 40 minute drives. Yeah. And rather than that being a negative thing, we're going to have buses that are elevated buses that have music, food, drinks on it. And so actually we think the bus experience of going to a session, and we'll program the sessions on purpose to get people to move. So say for instance, we'll have Dana White here, and then we'll have Brene Brown at Lake Louise.
Right.
We'll have someone else like Nike in Canmore. And so you'll be forced to, if you want to hear them, get on the bus and go. And so I think I said to you yesterday, it's going to be it's simple, but not easy.
Yeah.
So moving around, but I think it will make back to the uniqueness. I think it will make us unique. And I think it could be wrong, right? You try things and they might not work.
Yeah, it happens.
Because even for me, I'm like, I kind of like camping out at a place.
Yeah.
But if I think we make it big enough and important enough, people will get traveling. And there's nothing like us having a conversation to sit for half an hour, 45 minutes with someone that you never met before.
Totally.
It kind of isolates you to have that one-on-one connection.
Yeah. The other thing that's cool about that too is like you mentioned, the Banff is a place, and it gives a sense of place. And I think the experience of traveling through it is unique. Like when you are just situated here, you get what's immediately around, but you don't feel the place as much.
Yeah, like, and you've been to events, right? Where you go to New York or other places, and when you leave the event center where the conference or festival is happening, you kind of blend into the town, and then you're kind of lost there.
Yeah.
New York would be a great example.
Yeah.
Too much competing noise.
Yeah.
And Banff, because we're big enough to matter, everyone that's in town for the most part is at the event.
Yeah.
So you have that, not just the sense of place at the Banff Springs where we're at, but as we grow, we'll be in town. We do activations there.
Yeah.
And the restaurants know we're here. So there's just this sense of a bit of a town takeover.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. The thing I find fascinating about this too is there's like an idea of like marketing, you get an ROI in an investment. But one of the things I find different about this is you've got an economic impact that you're measuring, not just
it's great.
Like how much do they get back from the spend? Like there's a bigger thing here.
Yeah. So back to the sense of place, rather than using Banff to get what we want, we do partnering with them. So we make about a $15 million impact in the 3 or 4 days we're here with the spend of the event, but then all the 2,000 guests. There are, for those that are destination marketing people, these are the gems of travel people, right? They're business people, willing to spend some money, get out there and have fun. They do the attractions, they go out for dinner, they have drinks, they stay in nice hotels. So they're like the epitome of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But I also think I call them multipliers. A lot of these brands are looking for places to have their events.
Yeah.
And when they've never been to Banff before, it's like the ultimate fam tour.
Yeah.
If we want this thing to be around forever, we need the town of Banff and the Bow Valley to not just like us, but believe in us.
Yeah.
And treat it with respect. It's a national park. So really making sure that no matter where we go in town, we treat everyone with respect. Because these big things can become like just boondoggles and parties. And we want to be good guests. And so we try to make that when the gathering's coming to town, they're excited. Not all the business owners are excited.
Yeah.
Because they're friendly, they're kind, they tip good.
Yeah.
I want to be a net good, not just on the balance sheet, but a feeling.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that as well with the relationship to the brands that are here and that are presenting? And because I feel like there's a common thread there too.
Yeah. So we affectionately call them, so this in the early days, Cult, my agency, really curated all the speakers, and we had a name for the winners. We're called Cult Brands of the Year.
Yeah.
That was the early days. We now went to Brand Hall of Fame, which is more global appeal. But these cult-like brands, going back to those early days, there's still that feel here. Is we celebrate brands that build communities, and often a lot of them don't actually do traditional marketing. They don't shoot commercials, they don't buy big ads, they have communities.
Yeah.
And Harley Davidson is one of the greatest examples, early days. If they have, I don't know if it's still the same, but if they had $100 million to spend, they spend 80% of their budget on existing customers, not on new acquisition. And think about that money spent on what it could be spent on getting people to be your ambassadors. And it's very cool. A lot of those brands that are at the gathering share that. If you look at their spend, it's very much taking care of their existing community. What's your take on it? Like, so you've been a few times, but how have you seen the evolution of it?
I've looked at it from a few different perspectives. Originally, when V and I were first here, we came as part of the we were with Sport Check, and it was recognized as one of the leading brands. So it came from that angle. I want to say 10, maybe something like that. And they came a couple of years in a row, but the one year I was thinking it's probably about 10. And then that's
crazy.
So I've seen it then, and then let's say fast forward 5 years, and the last few years I've been here again. So, and each time that I've come here, I've come from a different lens. So more recently with the podcast, obviously, and then also with the Calgary Marketing Association, putting on events myself and just seeing what it's become from an event side of things.
And you understand how hard they are.
Oh my God. Like the logistics around just putting the plants here 100%. Is insane.
100%.
It's incredible.
Signage.
Yeah.
Wayfinding.
Oh, it's wild. Like the production of.
The team has a master class in that.
Yeah.
And I try to never be egotistical or anything, but I really give them their flowers, and I'm not involved, but
yeah,
I've also noticed that from our early days. And that's the cool thing with building teams. Steve Jobs famously says, you don't hire smart people and tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You hire smart people and they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And we've taken that advice, and especially Mandy now leading it. All the fine touches are amazing.
Yeah. Last question I'll ask you about that, just in terms of leadership and like how do you see your role evolving as this evolves? And I think it's an interesting question in part because so many organizations grow through growth phases. Yeah. And so where you started obviously isn't the same as where you are today, nor where it will be in the future, right?
I was very much in the trenches in the early days, but there's something that I refer to as leadership presence. And so founders are important, even though they're not involved. Like I'm not involved in much of anything. Like if there's 95% of stuff that happens here, I'm not involved in it. But that 5% I consider important.
Yeah.
And guiding Mandy, making sure we stay true to our core values.
Yeah.
So even just being here, growing up is important. I take that seriously.
Yeah.
Were you at the opening?
Yeah. Part of it, the InQ one. Yeah.
So I opened before him, and I believe my job is to set the emotional tone for the event, so people feel vulnerable and feel like they can tell their stories, and not at marketing events, especially. Like I go to other industry stuff, and at marketing events, for some reason, maybe it's insecurity, I think, that people want to puff out how big their agency is.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't matter. I try to set the tone here that we are so okay with you just being you. If huge business and that company, great, be that. But if you're small, you're just as
yeah.
And so it's a longer road.
Yeah.
Because you've been to Cannes, you've been to those things. It's kind of a show.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's what it is. Here I want to make it's a harder road, but I want the little guy to be like, that's where I started. And South by Southwest was like that very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what made it famous. So I'd say we're really influenced by that.
Yeah.
So my leadership going forward, I'll be whatever Mandy needs. I ask her to deploy me.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's getting a big sponsorship deal and coming in and telling the story. It's reminding of the team of the core values always, which are 3 of them. Elevated experiences. So right from registration, usually at the table, we spend $50,000 or $60,000 just on registration to make it feel like, even when you go, it feels elevated, right? In the washrooms, we do up the washrooms.
Yeah.
Every little touch, elevated experience everywhere. Obviously the main stage.
Yeah.
Where we're spending millions of dollars on production. That's typically only in big cities. I want that for here.
Yeah.
So elevated experiences everywhere. Second one is unreasonable hospitality. We have 12 full-time staff. It swallows to about 30 a month before.
Yeah.
And then there's 150 to 200 volunteers
on
the day. And they're all empowered to spend money.
Yeah.
Solve problems. And just give our guests whatever they need.
Yeah.
And so I love at the end of the year, we have a volunteer party, and I look at the expense account and I give the team shit if they haven't spent money. I want them to find problems or delight people. And so unreasonable hospitality is at the core of this. And I think people feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last one is facilitate generosity. When Cult started this years ago, a lot of people don't know this, but we made a rule for ourselves that we could not work with any of the brands that spoke there that we invited for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And that made people feel so, there's other agencies here that can.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive, but I think it's what made this event great. And we were here to facilitate generosity for others.
Yeah.
And Zig Ziglar says, a great author says, if you can give other people what they want, you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
And so we have gotten so much business and so many friends from this over the last 12 years that we live that value and we try to live it for other people. And so when we live those operational values, it makes an impact on the feeling of the event.
Totally. Yeah. And it's a great feeling event. Like it does have a lot of feeling, a lot of soul. Yeah. Yeah. It's really great.
So our thing, and hold me to this, we're friends from the same hometown.
Yeah.
Hold me to it to keep it, remind me of it, that we care about that feeling, because that is what matters. And if we lose that ever, it's the start of the end. And we've been to lots of events that do lose that. And so my goal is that we keep that forever.
Awesome. Ryan, this has been awesome. Thanks very much for hanging out with us.
Thank you both for coming.
Yeah. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Have you been recording the whole time? The whole time. That's a fantastic way to start the episode anyways. Welcome back to the Sleeping Barber Podcast. We're here live at the Gathering 2025 in Banff. We're really honored to have Vanessa Schneider with us, head of marketing at Descript, join us to talk about AI and creativity.
Thanks so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Yesterday was super fun. I met a lot of really interesting people. Lots of folks here from big brands on the consumer side. Lots of folks working on B2B offerings. So it's a really nice mix.
Fantastic. And it's your first time in Banff, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. It's beautiful.
That's great. Right? It's a little gem, little secret here that we have. We like to come out when we can. Okay. We heard that your talk went incredibly well yesterday. A huge turnout. You talked about AI and creativity, likely a lot of the complexities that AI is posing, but also how we need to be thinking about AI in this new world. How about you give us a little bit of the TLDR of your talk yesterday, and then we can kind of go down. We'll kind of go down a few rabbit holes.
Yeah, sounds good. So the main thing that I wanted to express on that panel yesterday was it's not optional. We have to lean in. We have to be curious. We have to learn about this stuff. We can't just sit this one out. Yeah. Even though as marketers and creatives, we can maybe feel uncomfortable or nervous. There's some FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt about this stuff. You got to surpass that. Yeah. A big point I wanted to make was that it's important to be able to understand the things that AI is really good at today and the things it's really not good at today. So that when you think about your workflow from a somewhat abstracted perspective and you think about the different phases of work, you can think about, of those phases, which should be human-led and which should be AI-led. And that's a new habit for marketers and creatives. We're sort of just used to like moving through our standard process of developing a campaign or developing an individual asset. And we have to take a step back and think about it a little bit differently. But soon that will become habit as well.
You know, it's really interesting. It's like moving to that coexistence almost between the technology or AI and HI. So human intelligence and artificial intelligence. And I think what's fascinating is how marketers are forced to adapt really quick, because I think there's two parts. We recognize some of the risk. We recognize that it's coming for jobs in some capacity. It's some of the, mundane tasks that we as marketers have. But you can also see where the power really lies in it. What excites you the most about this new frontier with AI and the merging, if you will, the convergence of that with creativity?
Yeah, to me, what's most exciting about this moment is that you can sort of surpass your own technical and physical skills by working with agents. So because so many of these agentic tools use natural language, you simply need to know what you're trying to achieve. You need to be able to describe it well, which is hard, but as marketers and creatives, we should be pretty good at that. Yeah. And you should be able to collaborate with an agent and have the agent execute the specific tasks in the right order, using the right tools in ways that you may never need to personally learn. Yeah. And so we're really unblocked in a lot of exciting ways. I can make things with AI-enabled tools that I definitely couldn't make on my own by hand. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that audiences' expectations for content are bananas right now. Yeah. Like the amount of stuff we need to produce and the level of personalization and customization that audiences is expecting is only going to grow. There is no way to keep up with that if we just rely on our human-only workflows. Yeah. So bringing AI into the process is really the only way we have a fighting chance of being able to reach our prospects and customers in the way they are increasingly expecting to hear from brands.
I love that. I I've been meaning to ask you this, and a lot of people will naturally knee-jerk reaction to like where AI can help me with the briefing process, right? Sure, makes sense. Others are looking at it from a creative perspective. Where have you seen it being deployed really, really good, especially in these earlier stages right now where it's a lot of still discovery that's happening?
Yeah, I'll give 3 examples, one of which is going to be Descript. But I'll save that for the last. So I have a brand designer on my team who vibe codes mini apps so that she can rapidly prototype different versions of an asset she's working on. So she will create this tiny little machine that basically she has like a dial for every parameter on the asset she wants to explore. Okay. And then she could mess with those dials and rapidly produce dozens of versions so that she can quickly sort of figure out what direction she wants to go in and then take the pen and do the last bit herself. Right. So that speed and breadth of exploration enabled by a vibe-coded tool that's just for her is really cool. Another example is I have a PMM on my team who has created a custom GPT for each of our ICPs. Oh my goodness. And what that means is that when we're working on a campaign brief, when we're working on messaging architecture, he can run it by the ICP and talk to it and say, does this resonate with you? How does this make you want to lean in? Are you confused? Yeah. So now we still do plenty of UXR where we talk to real people, but that is such an accelerant to our strategy phase. And then of course, Descript. Descript is an AI-enabled video editing platform that makes it as easy to edit video as it is to edit docs and slides. We have lots of AI editing tools in there that just take away a bunch of scut work. Yeah. You want to remove all your filler words in your recording, click a button, and it's done. You don't have to go into the timeline with your tweezers. We also have an agentic co-editor inside Descript. It's called Underlord. Right. And I use that. Like, here's a small use case that I use Underlord for that I love. I ask it to do all my caption styling. Because for some reason, I hate messing with the parameters on my caption styling. It just drives me nuts. And I'm like, I just never have to do this again. I'm just going to have the agent do it for me. I'm going to tell it what I want, and it's going to do it for the whole time. It's just going to do it.
I love that. Another thing that I feel like becomes, maybe it's not friction, but again, I want your opinion on this. Do you feel like the adoption of AI is coming from the bottom up in organizations, or is it coming from the top down?
I think it's really split out there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm lucky to be working at a company that has sort of the best of both. There is a cultural norm and expectation around trying new tools. Sure. The way that is supported, tops down, is you can play with stuff. You can sign up for a couple months of a new thing and try it out, and you're not going to get in trouble from IT or whatever. You know, I think you absolutely need to make people feel safe playing with this stuff and reward that curiosity, not mandate a certain efficiency target on a certain timeline. But it is something that it'll be a bell curve like any other change, right? So some people will come to it really early, they'll be psyched, like raise those people up, find opportunities for them to showcase what they're working on. Yeah. There's going to be like a big middle, and then there's going to be some group of stragglers who are reticent, they're nervous, and what I do in my team with those folks is try to provide some sort of like structure and focus around their exploration so that they don't have to do that part. They don't actually have to figure out the entire landscape and what is a good problem to solve with these tools and what should my tool stack be when I'm trying to solve it. I'll give them a lot more structure there so that they can just focus on the experimentation part. Right. And I hope, we'll see, that in that they'll sort of catch the bug.
You know, what do you say to those that are, you know, say in a corporate setting, and they're being asked, say it's coming top down. So leadership is saying, hey, we need you guys to be thinking about your roles and how you can adopt AI, et cetera. And a lot of individuals will have a knee-jerk reaction to say, like, when will I have time to do that along with my day-to-day? What do you say to individuals like that?
Okay, so this is something I actually did. Okay. And I would recommend to anyone. I've been meaning to write it up, but I haven't written it up. I took an AI vacation. And that wasn't a vacation away from AI. It was a vacation to AI. And what that meant was for an entire week, I canceled all my meetings. I told everyone I am unavailable. I can't help you with whatever. Idea. I am going to be spending these focused 5 days learning different tools, trying to solve different problems. I'm just going to fully devote myself to ramping my learning curve.
I love that.
And to power that experience, I created like a dedicated co-pilot that had like specific context and a specific prompt. to be my collaborator and coach for all 5 of those days. We worked on projects together. This was just in Chat. I just made the Copilot in ChatGPT. We worked on projects together. I had it help me like write up every day's progress, and I did little share outs on Slack every day to tell people what I had learned, where I succeeded, where I failed. I made it like this big production.
Yeah.
And I came out the other side feeling so much more fluent.
Yeah.
And the thing that it affirmed for me, which I had an inkling about before I did the AI vacation, was it's not practical to try to learn this stuff in 15-minute increments off the side of your desk. You have to find whatever structure you need to protect the time to devote to really getting in there. Additionally, you have to be ready for the fact that in your explorations, you're going to build a bunch of stuff that doesn't work.
Right.
And that is okay. That is part of it. That is healthy and good. You're not supposed to like vibe code your first amazing app and have it solve all the world's problems on day 2. Yeah. Be gentle with yourself. Remember that like the process is so much more important in those early stages than the output.
That's such a great example, and I love the idea of an AI vacation. Maybe harder to sell internally for some organizations, but I think that the premise of that is do you start with like a half day, a full day, and you make Fridays like AI Fridays or something? That's a really good idea. Couple more questions before we let you go, but the one that comes to mind, in our discipline, have you seen one LLM kind of rise above the rest? Or do you think like there's a lot of parity right now and anyone could choose anything?
I think that like find your favorite. I don't know. Okay. There's so much digital ink spilled about which is best at what, and this is changing with every model update. And I don't know, man. Like there is a genre of person who really likes thinking about how to optimize every task for the perfect model, and that is not something that gets me going.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, how can people find out more about you, about the great work that you're doing, and how can they get a hold of you if they wanted to?
Oh, yeah. Well, first learn about Descript, www.descript.com. The thing that I want you to know is that you can make a video. Whatever you know how to do, you know how to edit a Word document, you know how to edit a PowerPoint slide, you can edit a video in Descript. And then you should make a video in Descript and send it to me. You can find me on LinkedIn, Vanessa Hope Schneider. I'm easy to find, and I want to see what you make. It really thrills me to see how people dip their toe into the waters of editing video. And I'm always humbled by the things people want to lend their voice to and make content about and share their expertise on. So please find me on LinkedIn. Show me what you make.
I was just going to say, she's a great follow on LinkedIn. I was kind of like perusing a lot of the content that you put up. So you will not be disappointed. Thanks so much, Vanessa. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. Welcome back to the Sleeping Barber Podcast. This time around at our being here at the gathering, we got an opportunity to meet you, Carolyn. Thank you for joining the show. Really excited to kind of get into the topics of, how Metaphor Interactive is looking at the digital space in a really unique way. And before we kick off, we know that you're the CMO. Love to understand a little bit how you're kind of set up there organizationally with your team there.
Yeah, so I joined the team about 2 years ago. And what attracted me to it is that, Metaphor Interactive has this product called Power Up. And what it's designed for, it's designed by gamers for UGC games.
Right.
And basically we, design and deploy digital experiences in brands that we create playable stories for brands in game.
Okay.
So versus an impression, you're having a true engagement interaction with the consumer.
I love that.
And it's lasting, it's more meaningful. And, just like any other kind of marketing program, we start with a brief, kind of tell that brand story, but it's through a gamified experience.
Right.
And instead of expecting the consumer to come to you, we take the experiences to creators that have top games.
Love that. We, as a podcast, we like to focus on a lot of the marketing effectiveness principles, and obviously one of the main ones being like mental and physical availability, right? And it really sounds to me when you're talking about this product that it's almost like a digitized version of physical availability, because you're creating these experiences for the consumer inside of an ecosystem that they're already present. Is that the way you guys see that as well?
Yeah, and it's actually so much more than that, because it's, I worked in experiential marketing for a number of years, and we would do sampling programs either in store, at festivals and stuff.
Sure.
And, you do get to touch and feel it and everything. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, like, Gen Z lives and breathes in these social ecosystems, right? they're a part of it. They connect with their friends there. So it's almost like another world.
Yeah.
How people have been talking about the metaverse, which gamers don't like to use that term. But
let's not trigger the Gen Zs, please. Let's not trigger them.
So they really do feel like they're there. And when they have this experience, it's like, it's not just a one-off. Like they come back again and again. Because what we do is we craft that brand story into the gameplay.
Right.
So we like to say, rather than disrupting gameplay, we enhance it by really using what we know about the gaming platforms, working with the collaborators to co-create, I think is key, making it a success. And then the brands love it because unlike building a world and expecting people to come there, which I hate to say, unless you're a big brand like Disney or have the kind of innovation pipeline that can keep that going for a very long time and a lot of dollars to promote to get people there. It's very hard to be successful with, building your own experience. So working with these creators, we can be in the top games and we can be in multiple places versus just one. So really expanding that reach.
That's really interesting. And I wonder when we're thinking about the collaboration, we keep talking about the creator economy, right? The creator has become so important to not only the way we market now products, the way we communicate with other audiences. You touched on a little bit on the collaborators / creators. The fact that the cost or the barrier of entry to create these worlds is quite extensive. Where have you seen the collaborators really lean into brands to actually showcase them in a really authentic way that was still somewhat native, if you will, but it's not overly sold or like people are like, oh, okay, this is a little icky?
I think some of the bigger ones have really figured it out.
Yeah.
They're doing kind of their own cross promotions and stuff. But again, they're building like that one experience for one map. So you're not getting the diversity that you would get if you were to go across multiple maps. I think what's unique about what we do is we, and the creators love working with us because we build these technologically advanced digital devices for the experiences, which they can then integrate within an hour. So for them, it's a very low investment time. For the brands, they don't have to worry about it breaking.
No.
They don't have to deal directly with creators. So it removes that friction that you do have because having gamers design these experiences really helps to ensure the game doesn't break. One of the biggest things we hear from creators all the time is like, we're open to working with an experience, but it's got to work. It can't break my brand,
How about, if you can share it, because we had obviously the luxury of connecting with you earlier. What are some of those ecosystems that were referenced? Is it like Fortnite? What worlds are you collaborating with?
I mean, the main ones are Fortnite and Roblox.
Okay.
I think they're the most advanced from, the brand expert. They also have the hugest audiences, right? We're looking at expanding into other platforms globally and stuff, but we've really been focused on Fortnite and Roblox for the last little while, kind of making sure that, it works and that we've got the right solution. And part of that is building it with the creators and figuring out what kind of triggers. So we do a lot of, just building relationships with the creators, spend a lot of time understanding what are their friction points and how can we help alleviate those. And then working with them as soon as we get a brief from a brand, we start to think about what is that kind of deployment strategy and then start to work with those creators and make sure that it's going to work. So you don't get far into the build and then no,
wait.
Right? We also find out what the brand's priorities are because a lot of the times, when you work with bigger brands, there's legal processes and the creators don't want to deal with that. The brands don't want to not deal with it.
Sure.
So we help to remove that friction as well.
So help me understand a little bit. A lot of brands likely listening to this episode specifically, there may be a sense of risk, inherent risk going into a space that's maybe not as common because we would argue this is potentially a deduplicated audience that we're looking at, targeting in a very, niche environment. What would you say to the brands that are kind of on the fence and being like, is this the right fit for me? Like, how would I show up in a digital world like that?
So the one thing I say to marketers is that if you're looking to reach that demographic, you should be there.
Right.
But in the right way.
Yeah.
So I think it is undivided attention. And if you capture it in the right way and you start to build that relationship, there's no risk, right? Because what we do is we build hyper-relevant experiences that they can then capture and share through other media channels, do localization, do retargeting. And if you build an experience that they love, the creators also are an amplification system for that as well. A good example of that is the Waterade campaign that we did with Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast, as you know, is one of the world's largest influencers, but really specific to YouTube. So the gaming community didn't really get on board right away. So what we did was created, an in-game experience that then we could go to all the gaming streamers and say, hey, here's live content. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to think about it. But go there and stream away, right? And so it's an easy win for them because now there's hyper-relevant content for their audience.
Are the ones that build these experiences digitally and then the creators that are either streaming, are they one and the same or are they often like different pockets?
There's both. The really hardcore developers in the Fortnite system, for example, or Roblox are it's an art.
Of course.
They are artists. So they will have their own networks and stuff. They're not always overly that large. You do a podcast, you spend a lot of time on it, right? It's not like you just sit here with a microphone, you think through it. There's all kinds of things. And,
of course.
It's a different art than if you're building a game versus, being a personality on a show kind of thing, which is more about streamers.
And I think that's a very interesting, almost like separation a little bit too. Like what we're talking about here is the experiences that gamers would see within a platform. It's not necessarily looking at the streaming side or the streamers, where then that's where a lot of the risk sometimes comes in, especially if your streamers are, speaking to brands or they're working with brands, etc. So it does, I would argue, probably provides a little bit more of a safe haven in some capacity, as long as it's built to the brief and people are engaging with it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I came onto the team is because my experience in marketing, and it's all about protecting the brands, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Protecting not only, how the brands want to be portrayed. We do a lot of careful vetting with our creators, make sure there's strategic partnerships, just like anything else. And
of course,
whether they're a personality, they have their own social networks or whatnot, that is a consideration, especially with the ones that have great followings and stuff, right?
That's a good point.
We want to be able to leverage those in the best way possible. But again, they're few and far between, right? And I think what we provide is the ability to go across multiple experiences. So it does give you diversity of gamers versus hitting the same gamer over and over.
Yeah, I love that.
And we guarantee results. So because of the relationships that we have with the creators, we, negotiate the contracts to ensure that the client isn't dependent on an uptick in play or whatnot.
It's a great point.
So it's no risk to the brand, right? And then
love that.
As long as we make an experience the creators love, and because we co-create it with them, they want to amplify it. So the Takis experience, we, did that. We put it in field. The creators loved it so much, they asked us to keep it in longer, even post how many interactions we had promised the client.
So obviously in this conference that we happen to be taking part in, there's a lot of conversation around AI, right? And AI, the creator economy, etc. How do you see the role of AI evolving also in this digital ecosystem as well as you're creating these experiences for brands?
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, I think AI is, integrated into every business these days, right? We do have clients that are absolutely not, some of the bigger ones for ethical reasons or what that might be. I've had my hand slapped a few times for note taking, right? So I think it's definitely going to play a increasingly larger role. I don't think it's impacted this world so much yet because I think they're still artists, right? And I think what people see when they see the screen, I don't know if you're a Fortnite player.
I'm not actually, but I played a little bit.
They are true strategists. They know what works. They know their audiences better than most marketers do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know them intimately.
Yeah.
And they know how to create those experiences. So that's why they're so protective of their environments, I think. And it's it looks like a video when you see it on screen, but the technical stuff that goes into it is crazy.
I can only imagine.
Like we're building custom analytics for clients that will, get down to how far they will go into an experience. And, we kind of look at time spent with brand, all those things but there's also limitations in the platform that the platform provides. And for example, I think the next season, if you're familiar with Battle Royale, which most marketers think that Fortnite is just Battle Royale, they don't realize this whole rich ecosystem of Fortnite creative. Battle Royale has been there. It's the big one. It's what most marketers know. It's really hard to get into. It's very cost prohibitive.
Right.
That's why Fortnite creative is a great alternative. Battle Royale, you will be you'll be in a sea of same, I'd say. Lots of brands competing, and you're competing against the top brands.
Right.
What we offer is exclusivity in those experiences during that time. And Fortnite creative offers that.
That's awesome.
So, but for example, Battle Royale controls the system. It's one of the biggest things. They have a season changeover happening. With that comes a technical changeover.
Right.
Everything breaks. Things go down. So the creators are very hesitant to do anything during those times, but they trust us. Like our team has been around 20 years in gaming, right? Some of our founders were at EA Sports, one of our advisors was one of the founders of Fortnite Creative.
Right.
So they know that they can trust us from a technology perspective, which is really important to them. Because if their game goes down, they lose money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a couple quick more questions for you. I love that you touched on measurement there as a part of your previous answer. Do you mind going a little bit deeper? So when a brand is potentially working in these worlds, what kind of measurement is available when they're looking to measure their like everything that we do, the return on investment in an ad spend world?
You can measure behaviors, how much somebody plays, and there's intricate measurements that you can do.
Okay.
But you have to ask the creators to implement those. So again, it's a technical integration.
Right.
So what we do that makes it easy is we kind of work through what are the key priorities. Like we usually start with a long list from our brands and say, what do you want us to measure? And then we'll work with the creator and say, here's the list of priorities.
Right.
These are the mandatories. And then we'll build those analytics devices into the experiences so you can get all of those along the way. So with our water client, they want to know how many water drops were collected.
Right.
Something as trivial as that, but it's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last question here from my end. Where do you see this continuing to evolve over the next 5-10 years?
Well, they say it's one of the biggest growing industries right now, right? And it is an aging demographic too. So some of these platforms, they're just getting bigger and bigger. And they're becoming more complicated to get into. So I think that Fortnite has always been very good at being we don't want to turn into a billboard. Roblox is much more mature from an advertising platform standpoint. You can do a lot more from a targeting perspective and all of those things. You're just going to continue to see it involved. And I think where marketers have been scared to go before, they're all going to want to get in there because it really is a rich playground for them to tell a longer story, get more impact, have a more meaningful moment with the consumer.
Love that. How can people find out more about you, the work that you do, and the exciting things that you're working on?
Yeah, they can visit our website, powerupsponsors.com, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to always talk all day about this.
Well, thanks for spending the time with us. We genuinely appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.